Ooh, let's get into the topic of multiple small meals a day. Hey, what's shaking, bacon? My name's Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So today's topic, multiple small meals, I think it's something I've always been leaning towards through the years. I've enjoyed intermittent fasting. I know lots of you people out there are thinking it'll spike your insulin if you eat. No, that's not how it works. Now, I've gone over this multiple times in my channel, but I know there's a lot of new people watching this. So when you eat, it doesn't spike your blood sugar, it raises your blood sugar. Simple as that. A small meal raises it less, a big meal raises it more. People who are developing a healthy metabolism can handle a major meal. They can handle a lot because they allow their body time to lower its insulin response. Intermittent fasting is something people do in a certain window of time. Maybe they don't eat for 12 hours a day or 14 or 16 hours a day, maybe even one full day or 2 full days, or even longer. The purpose of that is to let your blood sugar go down and let your insulin go down for a long enough window of time that your body can start using its own fuel. Well, what if your body can't do that? Well, yeah, everyone's body can do that. Yeah, but what if your body's not well adapted to being able to do that? So I have hypothyroidism and a history of gout. Both of those pathologies are reasons to not fast. It aggravates those conditions. So do I enjoy fasting? Yes, I love fasting. I feel great when I fast. So I think there's a middle ground most people can take, and that's fat fasting. And that's something I'm doing right now. But fasting is something that doesn't agree with my body. So what are your other options to lower your insulin? Well, every time you eat, it raises your insulin because it raises your blood sugar. So how do you handle that? A simple way is multiple small meals a day. So I've been doing 4 meals a day now for about almost 3 weeks, and it agrees with my body really well. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to 6 smaller meals. So the same amount of food spread out over 6 smaller meals, which creates a smaller sugar bump, which creates a smaller insulin bump, which gives you roughly the same effect as intermittent fasting. So instead of eating and then your blood sugar goes up and your insulin goes up and then it goes down, my numbers go up and it goes down like a jet plane landing. We don't want that. So staying down in this range keeps it low to begin with, right? So 2 or 3 meals a day does this. 1 meal a day does this. For most people, if you're metabolically sound, and which I'm not, clearly, and I'm staying down in this range with multiple small meals a day, with probably about 5 to 6 meals a day at least. The reason why I'm doing this is I got my insulin tested just under a couple months ago, and it was high. My fasting insulin was high. I've been doing carnivore, strict carnivore, not a lick, taste, or bite of anything off a strict carnivore diet, and I still have high fasting insulin. That's ridiculous. So there's something underlying happening. One of the contributing factors might be I just tend to only get 6 hours of sleep a night. That's it, 6 hours, and broken sleep at that. So lately, the last couple of weeks since I've been doing more calories, I've been doing a higher fat calorie count. So I'm not measuring my calories, but I'm getting at least a 90-to-10 ratio of fat to protein. This is going to be a temporary thing I do for a while, but I'll tell you some of the benefits I had. I had a little bit of weight gain in the beginning. That's gone almost back to normal. That's what normally freaks people out when they start doing a high-fat carnivore diet is they go, I'm putting on weight. Yeah, it's temporary. Your body will adjust. It's getting a new fuel source and it's getting a lot of it. We want to just lower that protein. Now, I'm not a fan of low protein. I'm really not. Sometimes you have to do something for the greater good. I did 80-20 last year for well over 4 months, and it didn't help me. I put on that little bit of weight in the beginning. I lost a little bit of weight, a little bit more than I put on. So I went down to 304 pounds. That was 10 pounds less than when I originally started, but I plateaued again. So I need to be a little more aggressive with this. And I'm not one to double down on something that's not working, but it did work. It was limited, but it worked. So I'm going to try this 90-10 for maybe a couple months, see how my body reacts to it. And I'm also doing even more smaller meals. So it's the same amount of calories I've been getting for the last 2.5 weeks, but I'm splitting it into smaller meals. So we're going to go over some of the benefits of doing this. This is basically what I'm eating in a day. I'm eating mainly beef. I was having a lot of bacon in that first 2 weeks, dehydrated bacon, at least a pound a day. Keep in mind, I'm right around 320 pounds. My weight went up a little bit, like I said, when I started high fat, and it's on its way back down. So I actually passed 320 and I'm back down to 320 again. So like 321 or something like that. So I've gotten over that initial hurdle. That's not uncommon when people go to high fat. Let's see where this keeps going. My activity levels more through the day to day. I'm doing a lot more walking, and because the weather's nice, and I'm also doing weight training. I like weight training, it's fun. One of the reasons why I'm weight training is I'm a firm believer that you will lose lean mass if you fast. If you don't have a healthy metabolism, I can guarantee you're gonna lose lean mass. The studies say that you don't lose lean mass when you get into aggressive ketosis, but it takes some people a really long time to get there. And if it takes a long time to get there, you could have lost a lot of muscle in the process. I know I've lost some muscle doing this. That comes naturally with weight loss. You have to fight to keep your muscle on. And the more muscle you have, the higher metabolism you have. So if you look back at some of my old videos, I proved if you don't do any weight-bearing exercise and you get into ketosis, you will start metabolizing your own lean mass, and you don't want that when you're losing weight. So you don't want to be a skinny fat version of yourself. You want to kind of lose weight and get into shape, don't you? So that's my goal. That's the goal of this channel. That's what I want to see happen with you if you try something like this. Weight training is essential, especially when you're doing the big exercises, deadlifts, squats, standing shoulder press, and bench pressing. You're getting pretty much every muscle in the body when you do those exercises. Don't go for high reps, go for lower reps if you want to build some muscle. I highly recommend doing that. So back to the fasting part of this. So in my day, I've cut out the bacon because I found I was retaining water. So that bacon is gone. So I'm mainly doing a lion diet. I am having some eggs or chicken every now and then in this, but 98% of my diet right now is beef. So right now I'm having beef tallow. A large amount of that's my fat source. When I did high fat last fall, I was using butter and I had constant diarrhea. Beef fat, no diarrhea. It's great. It's really nice. My body adjusted to that, no problem. I'm having the beef fat rendering. So the beef fat goes in an air fryer, and then all the fat that melts to the bottom, it eventually goes into the refrigerator. And the fat that's left on the rack, that gets kind of crispy when you put it in the fridge, and it's got a nice crispy texture to it. It's really nice, and I'm gonna do a video on that sometime. So right there, that's a big part of my diet. So my plate basically consists of burger patties with some rendered beef fat, which is very white, kind of ivory looking, and the beef fat renderings, which are kind of like beef corn chips. But I'm gonna break those meals into 6 meals instead of 4 meals. And I tell you, I've been sleeping great. For the first time in years, I'm getting 8 hours sleep a night. I'm probably getting at least 4,000 calories a day. 4,000 calories, that's a lot. Also incorporating a bit of alternate day fasting because my goal is to lower my insulin. Once my insulin is better managed, I'm hoping to be able to slowly raise my protein back up because I do not believe low protein is a good long-term solution. It's good if you have a healthy metabolism, you can get away with that for a while, but you don't want to do that, especially if you're a middle-aged woman or up. I'm not trying to project my beliefs on anyone out there, but you have to understand if you have too low protein in your diet, you are going to eventually, guaranteed, get into osteopenia, which will develop into osteoporosis. Your body needs building blocks, and that's what protein is. Yeah, it's not a very good fuel source, but it's a great building block. So we want to make sure that you have enough fuel to do that. Anyone can do anything temporarily without maybe long-term horrible side effects. You want to do something like this for a month, 2 months, 3 months. Yeah, that's not going to be too bad. Hopefully you won't do too much. I hope if you try something like that, like a moderate to low protein way of eating, I hope you're monitoring your lean mass and fat percentages as accurately as possible because you do not want to lose lean mass. And if you lose it, you better work towards putting it back up there again. So this is my goal right now, 6 meals a day, high fat, weight training, which is always good, and more day-to-day activity through the day. It's nice that I'm doing more walking, but I just have to do more day-to-day activity. I'm gonna do a video later on what it's like to have more activity through the day, because as a massage therapist for years, I had a really low activity in my day-to-day life. I was standing or sitting most of the day with work, and that was pretty much most of my activity. Massage wasn't physically demanding for me. It is for lots of people, not for me, because I'm such a big guy. So let's go over some of the benefits of multiple small meals a day. Another benefit that's really good for someone my size, being a big guy, is it's gonna shrink my stomach. I can still binge on a lot of food. I don't mind binging on a carnivore diet because you can't really binge like crazy. You know, there's only so much meat you can eat, especially if it's higher fat, it's more satiating. So the higher fat, the less you can eat. Simple as that. But what happens is bacon, that's a different story. I could eat pounds of bacon at a time. I've done it lots of times. It's not an issue for me. It's easy for me to do. So what that does though is it stretches out the stomach a little bit. And I don't want that. One of the things I want to do is work towards shrinking my stomach. That's where multiple small meals a day comes in. Fasting does the same thing. One way you're fueling your body, another way you're not. I'm a big fan of fueling the body to lose weight. Another benefit is you're never hungry or full. When you fast, you have to get in tune with your hunger signals. It's kind of difficult to do if you have been out of tune with your hunger signals for decades. I was out of tune with my hunger signals for decades. I ate tons and then I'd be like, oh, afterwards. And that's not really a healthy way to go. That was easy to do on a high carbohydrate diet, but I don't want to do that. When you eat this way, you're never hungry or full. It's kind of like you're grazing all day. It's really nice. The only work is you have to have food there all the time. One of the best things about this is there's no energy slumps. Even though I've been doing strict carnivore, if I eat a lot, I will get an energy slump. If you're tired after a meal, you ate too much. Simple as that, you ate too much. On top of not having energy slumps day to day, throughout the day, I don't feel as sluggish. My energy feels better. I'm sleeping better at night and my day-to-day energy is great. One of the other main benefits, last but not least, is it allows your body to use the fuel that's going in there easier. So I do struggle with chewing my food to a paste. Some people are like, what? You're supposed to chew your food to a paste? Yeah, you're supposed to chew your food till it's paste. But it's a little different when it's meat, to chew your food to a paste. The benefit of that is it takes a lot longer to eat, but the more you break your food down in your mouth, the easier it's going to digest in your stomach. So you can still be malnourished even though you're eating a lot of food, because if you're swallowing big clumps of food and also it's not chewed enough, well, imagine a ball and you're hitting the surface of the ball, but you're not getting any of the fuel in the ball. If you break that ball right down to crumbs or like a paste, you're going to be able to absorb all of that. It's the equivalent of being on a liquid diet. It's going to be easier to absorb everything versus a big lump of food and you're only digesting the other portion of it. So I just went over a lot of benefits to multiple small meals a day, but what are some of the negatives? Well, the biggest one, the only one you really have to worry about, is you have to be prepared throughout the day. You have to have food, maybe at your work, at home. You have to have it easily accessible to have on the go. It's a little more work that way because you're constantly paying attention to food. And one of the benefits of carnivore is you don't have to think about food anymore. It's really nice. But if carnivore is not working for you enough and there's some underlying problems, which I'm sure I have, and I'm seeing an endocrinologist right now to get this figured out, in the meantime, I'm trying to tweak this through diet and activity. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I've been at a plateau for a really long time on a strict carnivore diet with a moderate to high level of activity. That's not normal. There's something else going on here, and I'm trying to figure out what it is. I think it could be cortisol. The fact that I was waking up usually at 3 or 4 in the morning could be a factor. The fact that I wasn't getting enough sleep could be a factor. And I think that being on this high-fat diet has helped me with those issues, and it's a matter of time till all that balances out, which will help my insulin to balance out, which will help with weight loss. I do have hypothyroidism. That could be part of the problem, but I honestly don't think so. My symptoms lean a little more towards cortisol than thyroid, but we'll find out. So thanks for watching this video. If you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. I hope you enjoyed it.